Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Midwest Mythos. And guys, I got something that y'all been asking for a minute this evening. Haven't been able to find it, and then they came and found us. So guess what? We got some paranormal investigators. Well, investigator this evening. It's gonna be a blast. But before we get into talking with our guest Josh this evening, um, if you or anybody you know would like to be a guest on the show, such as the one we have on this evening, reach out to the show, and I would love to have you on. You could have experiences, knowledge that is not commonly known. You could be an author or something. You know, you guys know all the good stuff. You hear it every week. And yeah, and that being said, too, the logo contest, whatever you want to call it, cover art, the new thing instead of my clip art that I got going on, still going until the middle of May. All my artist friends out there, I'd appreciate if you guys could come up with something awesome better than my clip art. So, with that being said, let's push everything else to the end and get into it with Josh. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. It's going good. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. You know, that's always the weirdest thing to ask, especially when we've been talking for half an hour before
Yeah,
we
no,
record.
for sure. No, I get it though. Like I've been part of the YouTube scene for a long time, so I get the camera magic for sure. Yeah,
If we bursted
yeah,
anybody's bubbles, I'm sorry, but yeah, we've already been talking pre-hand,
yeah.
so
Oh yeah, we've had
oh,
some great combos already. Now to work it back into the podcast.
hey, it's gonna be good, y'all.
Oh
So,
man, like, oh sorry, go ahead.
oh, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say we did 14 locations last year, and we did a few of them more than once. So I definitely have stories. Like the ones we did more than once was obviously for a reason. But yeah, so
Well,
we definitely will be here for a while.
before we get into those, why don't you tell everybody about yourself and what it is that your team is?
Yeah, so I'm Josh Tessier. I'm co-founder and lead investigator for 613 Paranormal out of Ottawa, Canada. We do urban exploration, paranormal investigations, so more the commercial side of it. We do residential, not as much. Like more like our last residential, we did one last year, and she ended up becoming because she's clairvoyant, so she's now our medium. We work with her now. So we don't really do a whole lot of residential. I booked another 2 for this year, but I like the commercial side of things, the urban exploration side of it. But yeah, so it's pretty much what we do. We go in abandoned buildings and see what we can get to talk, who we can get to talk, what we can get to talk, and what they want to say.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, I already know you got a bunch of stories that you can share. So I don't know what order you want to do this. If you want to do a chronological order, or maybe give us a little bit of insight of what got. Yeah, actually, yeah. Let's start there. What got you into
Yeah,
paranormal
I was gonna
investigating?
say that's a good story. I kind of want to start there. So yeah, basically in 2011, I got a 2-bedroom apartment, just me and my 2-year-old dog. Um, didn't think anything of it. It was cheap rent, it was close enough for work. It was only 45-minute travel. And so the first night I moved in, I was going snowboarding with a buddy. So I literally just dropped everything off in the apartment, checked it out quick. Yeah, okay, good. Grabbed the key and left, went snowboarding. Came home, it's like midnight. And like don't even unpack anything. I'm just going over GoPro footage from that day. And like I've got so the way the apartment was is you walk in from the hallway, and my room is directly on the right. Like you got like 6 feet, and then it's the door to my room. So I'm literally sitting on the floor in front of my TV watching the footage, and I just hear footsteps go from the kitchen, which is the wall behind my TV. That's the kitchen. So I hear footsteps go from the kitchen to the door out of the apartment. Like at that point, it's the first night. I'm tired. I just like spent all day snowboarding. I just want to go to bed. Fuck that. So exactly what I did. Like even my dog like perked up and was like, "What was that?" type thing. Like he noticed. So I just went to bed, turned everything off, ignored it. I wake up the next morning. So the deadbolt for that door is spring loaded. I don't know if you're familiar. The second you close it, it's locked.
Uh
Like you have to hold it to open it. And the second you close it, you let go, your door is now deadbolt locked. The
Oh yeah.
door was wide open.
Oh
Wide open.
oh.
So those footsteps I heard from the kitchen to the front door actually opened the door and left the apartment and just left my apartment door wide open all night. That was the first night. Okay. So I got like, a couple months. I lived there for maybe a total of 6 months. I just, I'm not going to stay there. It was crazy. I'll get into how crazy it was. So I used to I played hockey. I played competitive hockey for 15 years. So, like when you're into hockey, like your last name and your number's your thing, right? So in wood class in high school, I made this wooden sign that said my last name with number 13 at the end. Hung it above my door anywhere I lived. That was my room. Nobody could mistake it, screwed into the wall. But so the one day I come home from work and this thing is in my room, my locked room. Sorry, I gotta backtrack here. I had gotten a roommate, it was my cousin for a bit. He was hardly ever there, but he was stealing money from me, so I eventually ended up locking the door. Anyway, so I come home from work the one day, and this sign it's not above my door anymore. I go in my room, and it's on the floor of my room, in the locked door. I'm like, I honestly I was just like, whatever type fucking thing. After seeing the door, this is maybe 2 weeks after the door wide open, and then I used to have a guitar stand. It was 3 guitars. And then, so the way it worked is you put the guitar on it and it would lock the neck. So it was pressured. You set the guitar down and you can't pull it off. You literally have to pick it up and then pull the guitar, right?
Yep.
So I had 2 of 3 guitars in the stand. And once again, my last name is in the fretboard of my main practice guitar. So I come home and that guitar is face down on the floor. Just, one thing after another, don't know what to think about it type thing. Often, very, very often, almost if not every night, every other night, you would hear the footsteps going from the kitchen to the dining room or the kitchen to the door, or you'd hear the whining of an old sewing machine, the wah, 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 wah type thing, or fiddling in the kitchen. I used to have these Angry Bird stuffed animals. And they would just go missing.
Oh.
And I'd find them in random places, a top shelf of the cupboard that I can't even reach because I had 16-foot ceilings in that apartment. So the cabinets for whatever reason went all the way to the freaking ceiling. So the top shelf, I just see the little yellow Angry Bird sitting up there. And it's what the hell? And then eventually they just started going flying randomly.
Like they're supposed to.
Yeah, right. That I found kind of hilarious, right? You can't really get scared or annoyed with that. That's just funny. You're using it properly, right? Throwing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so I had a buddy and his girlfriend over. We're sitting at the dining room table, and my PlayStation controller goes from the center of my bed to the TV screen, just completely on its own. Just went across my bedroom. Because from the dining room, you could see into my bedroom. You could see the TV, but you couldn't see my bed. So literally just you hear the controller hit the TV and then hit the ground, and it's broken. Thought nothing of it. 10 minutes later, the chair beside my buddy's girlfriend just pushes itself in. Just slowly, casually, it just pushes itself in. And literally that was it. Just as if somebody excused themselves from the table, pushed the chair in, and then walked away, And she flipped. I'm not dealing with this. Just left. I had report because I had a few. I used to tattoo and everything, so we'd have tattoo parties. So the one party, 2 people did I don't know if they talked to each other. I'm gonna assume that they didn't. Just because of the timing of it, one woke up well before the other and then told me their part and then left. So first off, one of my buddies that was sleeping on the couch woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't move, couldn't speak anything, and he just felt pressure on his shoulders as if somebody's holding him on the couch, you can't move, I'm not gonna let you move type thing. And he just said he felt like something was staring him in the eyes. And then the other guy slept on a mattress in a different room, and he said the same, pretty much the same thing. He woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't move, couldn't speak, and it felt like somebody was holding him there. So that was pretty nuts.
Yeah. You tell him,
Um,
man.
yeah, and on top of like my dog would just like randomly he'd be dead asleep and then just wake up and then stare at a random corner across the room and start growling. You know, like that was like, okay, stop being weird type thing, because crazier things have happened already. Like that's nothing.
Yeah.
I'd come home from the bar like a little tipsy and like start calling them on type thing. Like, let's say you're worse, you know? But really, I didn't want to.
You know,
In all honesty, I did not want to know their worst. So fast forward a couple months, I'm seeing this girl, and her mom's best friend is a psychic, like a practicing, like an actual, like well known in the Ottawa area. And so I guess they're hanging out having coffee or something, and she just randomly like says to her like, "I'm worried about Tessier 13," which was that wooden sign was Tessier 13, which was the first thing to get like ripped off, right? Like the first real thing, other than footsteps and hearing noises. That was like the first poltergeist activity I had. So that like, anyways, so she says that to her, and then she's like, "What do you mean?" Because she had never really talked to her about me. Like, why would she be telling her best friend about her daughter's like boyfriend of a month, you know, type thing? And then she starts going on about these 3 little boys that don't like me there, don't want me there. I'm invading their space. They don't like me marking my territory. And then this old couple that used to live in that exact apartment, and I guess before they passed, they promised to wait for each other. And so the footsteps to the door and to the dining room and the sewing machine was the old woman, because she had passed first, so she was waiting for him, right?
Uh-huh.
So that was like the only good thing out of all. Anyways, and then she starts talking about this other spirit that doesn't know she's dead. It's a female spirit, and she's jealous of all hell. So when that controller went flying at my TV, and then the chair pushed itself in, like somebody excused himself, she was literally throwing a tantrum because another girl was in my apartment.
Huh?
She thought we were dating. She didn't know we were still alive. Apparently she thought we were dating. This is all like the psychic's word.
Yeah.
And like anytime a buddy would bring a girlfriend over or something like that, like literally, like the lamp would shake like violently, or the chair would push itself in. The Angry Birds would go flying or go missing. Like just insane. The 3 little boys that didn't like me there, dude, that was the most intense. Because it used to be a Catholic schoolhouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
My apartment was the classroom that apparently all the abuse and harm and anything just not good to little kids from adults happens. Like there were, so I'll give you a little history on that school. It's literally the property backs to the water, and then you have like, I'm sure you don't know, but it's the St. Lawrence River. To us, there's a massive fucking river. Like that is part of like a huge part of our shipment path in Canada is the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah, it's
Anyways,
a pretty big
so
river.
there's no like swimming in that. You go like 20 feet down and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So the property back to that, and the psychic said, "Don't go in the water. There's bodies in the water. They'll try and bring you down," type thing. So kids have been drowned, raped, beaten, and killed, like beaten to death in my apartment. So these 3 boys that just like for whatever reason just decide to stick around and like, you know, we're gonna get our payback on these fuckers type thing. They didn't like me putting up the sign that had my last name. They didn't like my guitar with my last name in it. They just didn't like me like kind of making it my own. They wanted it like bare walls and that's it. Like they would mess with literally anything and everything I tried to do. And when I found out about the boys, that's when I told my 2 buddies that had the sleep paralysis, and they straight up said it was like a little boy holding me down, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't fight him off.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting chills. Just it's been a while since I've told the full story. We're actually going back to that apartment this year for an investigation.
Oh
Going
wow,
back to the roots. Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be that'll be very interesting for sure. Wow.
So that was like my first real personal experience with the paranormal, like firsthand, and it went from noises to poltergeist in a matter of like 2 weeks. And I
It,
stayed there maybe, I don't even want to say 6 months. I think it was maybe 4 or 5. Because like I just like after a certain point, like you can't live with that. You can live with noises, but like
mhm.
shit going missing, going flying, you got company over and they're uncomfortable and want to leave now. Like it's just hard to live like that. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't embrace and accept the paranormal, because 100%, I'll like bring it on. I don't care. You say you're gonna hurt me, you say you're gonna scratch me. I don't believe you. Do it. You know. But that living with it to that extent was just something I didn't want to do. So, I started doing my research into it and I look into cleansings. And so I go to sage, I get water blessed by a priest, and I get a couple candles with, what is it? Oh God, I can't even remember the prayer on it. It's a candle with Jesus has got the freaking heart in his hands there, and Mary's holding him. I can't remember the prayer exactly, but it's to help
It,
entities cross over, right? Help spirits cross over, just to kind of show them the way. And honestly, man, so I was told that the flame, like they're gonna fight it. The three boys are gonna fight it, and that flame is gonna want to go out. I relit that candle 4 times. And like like dead of winter, man. It's 30 minus 35 degrees outside. Like you're not gonna open a window for like the slightest bit.
yeah.
And there's no breeze in the apartment, and that thing is like literally like a wacky inflatable arm flailing tube, man. Like just going crazy, and then it would go out, and so I'd have to say the prayer and light it again, and then put it down. And like I said, like I'm not like super religious, but I do believe in like the old school ways, like the pagan ways, right? But I'll do anything to make sure I'm safe. I don't
Mhm.
care. It can be Judaism, Catholicism, Christianity. I don't care. If it means that I'm gonna be safe, I'm doing it. You know?
E- yeah. And one of the things I want to bring up about the the building and stuff. So one thing I've noticed a lot in just the last couple of years getting involved with the church, but also just listening to a bunch of podcasts and obviously my own as well, and just talking to people is whether you believe it or not, that people think the the church is like the safe space. It's there's no
Yeah.
bad stuff where
Consecrated
it's
ground.
gonna yeah, but the reality of it is that's where the most spiritual warfare and stuff takes place.
Exactly.
It's,
That's the
it's
battlefield.
so it's like well, that's
That's why
where
you go to church to worship there, because you're literally you're fighting back. Yeah, man. Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, from my view, a lot of the stuff sounds demonic, at least in the activity and stuff like that. That goes hand in hand,
Yeah.
and whether I'm just more inclined to think things take shape, but I'm not going to say which or what that it's not these boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Regardless of how we look at it, some serious stuff happened at this place, and some
Yeah.
serious spiritual attacks were
Yeah.
happening, and it's
Yeah.
not all people in charge are necessarily there to help you.
No,
As
exactly. Exactly. I mean,
so there's
honestly, like some of the best advice I ever got from my old man was like, don't ever assume that your foreman knows better than you.
exactly
And like, honestly, like for sure. Like I've worked under guys, like twice my age, like 3 times the experience, and I'm showing them tricks type thing, like, and vice versa, where like I was 23 and running a kitchen with a bunch of 40-year-old men under me, like Red Seal chefs, like, so like 100%, it's perspective, like you gotta know your battle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that all that can definitely explain pretty much everything that's
Yeah.
happening in this place.
I
The
mean, like,
history.
the three boys was like what got me. Like I can live with, the old lady waiting for her old man, even though he had already passed and crossed over. Like that was fine, that's kind of like warming and humbling in a way, like this. Everybody thinks like you hear paranormal, you're like, oh, like I'm gonna have nightmares type thing. Like I'm trying to get a few of my buddies to come with me, and they're like, oh, no, 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 I can't do that. I'm too much of a pussy type thing. It's like you don't understand. Like it's not like that. You give it 10 minutes and your nerves calm and you're just like laser focused. You want that answer. Like you're into it. I'll do anything and everything. Just give me that answer type thing. But yeah, no, it's all perspective, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those three boys though, that was the terrifying part. That was the factor that I wanted to get the hell out of there, because even after lighting that candle, man, nothing stopped. Like I didn't have the footsteps, I didn't have the sewing machine, I didn't have things like the chair pushing in, the lamp shaking, I didn't have Angry Birds going flying or anything or going missing. It was literally just the crap that those three little malicious boys, because they didn't want me there. That was their space. That was the last, in a sense, safe space before they met their demise type thing. Or however they ended, whether it was in that room or not. And like I strongly believe that it was in that room, otherwise they wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like you either go back, because like even the house I'm in is right now, it's a prefab from the 80s, and there's this old woman that I'm sure was the one that bought the house and had it put on the property. She just likes hanging out and drinking wine, and I talk to her every other night. Like not everything's gonna be dark and evil, but there's the odd time where, well, most of the time when you're dealing with 1800s, they're not happy, and they're there for a reason. Unless
A
it's
different time.
unless it's a schoolhouse. I can tell you right now, man, those kids love their teachers. It's insane. You go to, like, because we have, I don't know if you guys have a lot of one-room schoolhouses from the 1800s.
Oh yeah. The area I'm from, a lot of them are still functional.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, small town stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Small
Well, yeah,
communities.
100%. Yeah. I mean, where the area that I'm in is literally like all small farm towns, like 2 street, freaking. That's it. You get two
Yep.
roads and that's the town type thing. But yeah,
Exactly.
so we've done. So the roofing company that I used to work for, that was the main part of the building was a one-room schoolhouse, and like a bunch of, when I first came on, a bunch of the guys were telling me like, oh, you're into paranormal. Like I've heard some stuff here. Like I've heard some crazy stuff, like a whip cracking and stuff like that, and like footsteps or a voice. And like that's honestly one of the places I can't stand the company, but I'd love to be able to go back. We hosted 2 seance nights there, so we brought friends in, people that just wanted to experience it but not have like the full fledged like terror of it, like going into an abandoned building and being absolutely just like exposed to everything. Whereas this was controlled, right? Like I'm setting up this seance, I'm setting up what we're reaching for and everything. And the second time we did it was actually some of the best evidence, like the most compelling, can't argue with it evidence. And actually, some of it is on our YouTube channel, the Estes session, where I straight up asked my buddy Aaron, I'm like, do you want me to go in the basement alone? And like 2 seconds later, yes. And I was just like, well, what are you going to do if I'm going to the basement? And then it starts going on. Like, I can't remember the words exactly, but it was either like red fluid or like a bunch of red stuff or something like that, like implying that he's going to like bleed me out or kill me type thing. And like, I didn't end up going down alone. I won't. I've done 2 basements alone. It's absolutely terrifying. And they're both mental asylums, so it's even worse. But yeah, I didn't end up going down alone, but just the responses you get, man, like it's hard to argue with. Like I'm a skeptic believer. I don't know if you're like when you hear a story from somebody, do you like instantly like believe it, or you kind of gotta weigh your factors? You have your own way about going about deciphering it.
So for me personally, and it's just I've always been this way, is I'm gonna believe somebody because I can't sit here and say what you saw or what you didn't see.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna believe somebody until they
Yeah,
give me a reason not to believe them. Now, just because I believe them doesn't mean I'm gonna sit here and go around and tell everybody, hey, this is their story. This really happened and
yeah,
stuff. But I believe that you believe that this happened and stuff.
yeah. Well,
And
for sure, yeah, yeah. So
so
you're
like
like me, then. You're like a skeptic believer.
yeah, and
You
it's like
believe
so
to an extent, where you kind of still have to experience, like whether it's detail or actually experience it in person yourself. Because like
so
I've
like
had stories told to me, and then like it's like, okay, well, what does ice cream have to do with it at the end there? Like I don't believe you all of a sudden.
exactly. So like when it comes to the paranormal stuff, I believe it all, like all of it, because I think it. I have to with my faith and stuff like that. I have to believe it. Now,
Yeah, yeah,
do I
okay.
do I believe that you got grabbed by your foot and yanked out your bed and dragged down the hallway? Not necessarily, but
Exactly. Yeah. See. Yeah.
but do I believe that something came and possibly touched you, grabbed you, something like that, or you did see an entity or something like that?
Mm.
Yeah, I've had that stuff happen to me as well. But it's you got to take everything with a grain of salt too, because there is a lot of people, especially with uh, being a host of a show and stuff like that. Luckily, I'm not that big yet, so I don't have to. It's not
You
happening
don't have
yet.
the Reddit criticism yet,
Oh yeah, and I don't have people coming on writing and making up stories just to
just
sit
for the
here.
clout or the attention. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if I get an investigator or something like that, such as yourself, it's like, all right, well, if you take your usually, I scout stuff out. Like I'll look at pages and stuff like that. I'm like, you're not gonna if you have pride in like what you do, and you can really tell about like just from people's posts and just how people talk about their stuff,
Yeah.
is if they take pride in their work and
Yeah.
like serious about it, I'll believe you. But if your page is sitting or something like that, or your YouTube channel or something is all just highlight clips and stuff
Yeah.
like that, like real short. There's
Forced.
nothing before it, nothing after it. Then I'm gonna kind of sit there and be like, hey, this isn't necessary. I'm less inclined to believe that this actually happened. There
Yeah.
could be some fish line or something like that. So, and it's easier. I've noticed too, just in everyday life with anything, not even just this, it's easier if you just go up to people like and believe them up front and kind of just discern
Trust.
everything. Yeah, you
Trust.
trust
Yeah.
everybody until they give you
100%.
a reason not to trust it, because that's
Exactly.
well, that's what my old man taught me. He's like, I don't care if somebody, your best friend, hates this person or something like that or did them dirty. You're going to treat them with respect and nicely until they do
Yeah.
something to you.
Yeah.
Until they don't have your trust. So that you know.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. Because I mean, like you said with the whole like leg bowling thing, like you could get that story like 20 times, and now it's slightly changing. But if you show me the video, you tell me the story and show me the video, yeah, I'm gonna believe you, type thing, like. And that's where like we're kind of that's what we're aiming for, Like I'll go to the extreme, possess me, I don't give a shit, throw me against the wall, make like whatever you got to do for me to get the evidence to prove that you are real. You're here.
Mhm.
Other than
It could
science.
it could not be me, but yeah, to each their own.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly,
Uh,
man. But like we cover ourselves accordingly, right? Like I'm the only one that's not Catholic, but I still have my ways to protect myself. I still use sage. I got my All Father ring, which is like the symbol of Odin. Like
mhm.
like I still like I'll participate in prayer. Just because I'm not Catholic doesn't mean I won't, um partake. It may not be my religion, but if it's gonna protect me, like we went over earlier, if it's gonna help, it's gonna help. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, if it's raining, are you gonna worry about the jacket being pink, or are you gonna worry about it keeping you out of the rain?
Oh man. So it's wild. You've only just given us the origin story here. Hey, you know what? Actually, I got one more question. I got one more
Yeah,
question before we
yeah,
move on to the next thing.
yeah,
So you had all this stuff happen to you at this place, all right? And and you still just woke up and was like, "Man, I want to pursue this even farther." Not many
yeah.
people would do
I
that.
don't. I was kind of expecting that question, but I don't know. I don't have a right answer for that, other than like it's a passion, man. It's
Hey, that's
you know, it's something that is. I did freestyle mountain biking and BMX for well over a decade, man. And there's everything is something somebody's already done. You know, you're
mhm.
just chasing. You're just chasing and chasing and chasing. Yeah, you know, don't get me wrong. I love it. The adrenaline rush and everything. Like, I'll still go and do it. I still have my $6,000 mountain bike. You know what I mean? Like, but um, yeah, I don't know. It was just like the flip of a switch, man. It was just like one thing to the other. Just so I don't know. The glare's a little messed up. Was me, anyways. So this painting behind me is actually my dog that used to live with me in that apartment. He passed last year. So he was my mountain biking partner. You know, he came with me to events. Like I got buddies in Russia and Germany, Brazil, UK. That like when he passed, they all reached out. Like they knew that dog. He's been all over the place, everywhere with me. So when I had to kind of unfortunately put him down due to cancer, I kind of took a step back and like, you know, like I've had doctors telling me for years, you can't be doing this anymore, you're destroying your body type thing. But you know, like fuck it, I love it. You know, I'm not going to stop until I can't type thing. And that was the mentality. And then, yeah, so I lost my boy Charlie, and like years early. The dog was like he was 13, but like would sprint trails with me type thing. You know, nobody believed that the dog was 13 years old. And yeah, so it kind of just like didn't change my life, but like it was me and him for 13 years. You know what I mean? So like it was you know, a change, and
Mhm.
I tried to, you know, continue that lifestyle in the same pace. And oh man, I didn't have my best friend, I didn't have my partner in crime, so you know, like not really bittersweet, but kind of finally listened to the doctors and retired from the sport. And just, you know, I was already huge into paranormal, watching it nonstop and doing my research and skinwalkers and cryptids and stuff like that. You know,
Oh
so I
yeah.
just kind of, I just me and my best friend, I was just like, hey man, so like you helped me create, you know, the biking channel, so you have a say in this. Like, do I end it or do we go paranormal? And without missing a beat, he said, let's do paranormal, and that was that. Yeah.
Hey, it's something that anybody of all ages, well, I shouldn't say all ages, but much like cryptid hunting and stuff like that, it's for people of all ages. Like as long as you can get up and walk, there's easy access places to do stuff, and then obviously younger people, better in shape people can go do the tough stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. You know, and
Yeah, it's kind of it's like, you know, adrenaline junkie jumping out of airplanes, hitting 30-foot jumps, doing backflips, to let's go into an abandoned building and film ourselves. You know, let's try and talk to nothing type thing.
huh.
It was definitely, it was a huge change in the channel. And like my YouTube channel did suffer. I went from 1,400 down to 750. So like it did suffer, but you know, like I'm not doing it for that. You know what I mean? Like it was the same thing with biking. You know, like I just really enjoyed doing the videos as much as I did riding. So it just, you know, it became a habit almost. I couldn't not ride and film a video. You know, so and then now it's like I see an old building, you know, an old like stone building that's easily 1800s. And it's like I need to get in there with my equipment. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. But I mean, I I feel like I feel like this keeps on coming up every episode now. It's probably a good thing. It's probably going to inspire somebody out there. But I mean, if you're doing something like this, or you want to do something like this, and you get disheartened by like your views or your subscribers or something like that.
You're doing it for the
And,
wrong reasons.
yeah, exactly. Like you
Yeah.
gotta have you gotta have a passion. I told myself when I started this, I don't care if I get one listener a week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best to put an episode out every single week just because I
Yeah, I
have fun
mean,
with it. I love
exactly.
talking to
It's
people.
something you enjoy and you want to do, right? Man, I like
Exactly.
some biking videos I get like over 5K, and the next one I'd get like 30 views, you know, like it's like if that's what you're worried about, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. You know, like it's not a passion, it's money for you. That's the way you see it.
Like if you ride in the passion and one day you do get some money out of it, hey,
Yeah, exactly. I had
that's
paid
just
sponsorships
about
and
it.
stuff, you know what I mean? Like I had my motivation. I had more than enough motivation, but like that's not why I was doing it, you know. But yeah, if you're doing it, if you're discouraged, like I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get discouraged about your views and your followers. Like when I lose two subscribers or two followers, like I trust me, I'm paying attention. And then I'm figuring out what happened, you know, like, okay, like last week, maybe I didn't post as much, or, you know, like, oh, I didn't answer that guy, now he's not following me anymore, so maybe I should stay on top of my messages type thing. But I mean, don't base your success on YouTube or social media off of your followers and your following, because before I was over 3K on Instagram, I was getting more likes and views than I am now. So, you know what I mean? Like, it is. It's just if you enjoy it, do it. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Just do it.
Yeah,
Shia LaBeouf.
and do it. uh, but I mean, obviously, you got a passion for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have these other experiences you got lined up too. I mean,
Oh man.
just talking beforehand, you're giving me a couple, and I know they're gonna have fun with them.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said before, we were talking 14 locations, and we did a bunch of them a few times, and we did them over and over again for a reason, right? So whether it was like my old work there, like we did that kind of to practice and hone the skills and like try different things, because one, like there's a one little boy spirit, Dylan, absolutely loved the cat balls. You couldn't put a cat ball down and it not like start. He literally played with it. And like you pull out a device, and like who's playing with that cat ball? It's me, Dylan. Every time, just a happy like kid voice. It's me, Dylan. You know, just happy to be there with you type thing. But yeah, you know, I've we got a lot of locations for sure. And this year, we're kind of chilling a bit. This year, we're gonna not go as hard this year, but still do some good ones. Oh God, let me flip back to that list of what we did last year.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, I'll go back to the other list. Wow. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I'll do the 2025 list instead. Yeah. I don't know where that list might not be in here. This
It's
is
all
literally
good.
all the same, just with new ones. As we're doing more locations, we're just not going to be repeating as much.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with our first one from last year. So we did Brockville Mental Hospital. This was a mental hospital owned by the Canadian government
Ooh.
from, what was it, 1860 something to I think it was like 2009. And then they closed it down, opened a new wing kind of behind it. So they still have the mental hospital, just the original 3 buildings aren't operational, which, like, I mean, if you bribe security, they'll let you in type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that place, that was 3 times we went there, and just insane. The first time we went there, it was kind of like we always do like a pre-investigation, so we just went to poke around. So we take like bare minimum. We'll take a K2, which is EMF, electromagnetic field. We'll take the obelisk, and then a spirit box or a cat ball or something. Just basic stuff, you know. Like you're not going too intense. You just kind of want to poke around and see if it's worth spending 8 hours in that building, you know. So me and my partner, we go there. One, it's pouring rain. Took us like an hour and a half to get in and find the way into the building because the security guy didn't want to describe it properly. Anyway, so we get in, and like the entire time, you're being followed by footsteps the entire time. Like there's not like if you're walking, something's following you. You stop, it stops. It was just so. And that was like our first like real investigation, you know. So it was like kind of terrifying in a way, but like you're like this is what we came here for type thing, you know? Like this is what we're here for. So we're continuing through this 4 stories, and the building's like kind of a J shape. Mm-hmm. So we started in the basement in the cafeteria, which was absolutely terrifying for some reason. Like blood stains to the elevator. Anyway, so we end up on, I think it was the 2nd floor nurse station, which was the first time we ever had a cat ball go off. So we just set up a couple cat balls in the hall, one at the nurse station door, and, you know, we're like, you know, if anybody's here, we're in the visitation hall beside the nurse station, come over and talk to us. And, like, as soon as I say that, cat ball lights up. As if one of the nurses, like, peeked out in the hall and be like, oh, yeah, they're there. You know, they're not lying type thing. And then we went back as a team twice. Absolutely insane, man. Actually, one of them's pretty funny. The video I have on YouTube from the first time we went is pretty funny. We ended up in the attic because we heard noises like coming from up there. So we go up, and then we're all standing in like kind of like a line, trying to listen. And we're like, shh, what's that? And this fucking pigeon literally walks out as if it's pissed we just interrupted its sleep. Like, just like, oh, screw you guys type thing. Like, doesn't even fly, just like walks out like, I'm out of here type thing. And sure, Michelle screams, it sets us all off, and it was just like this funny situation, but like literally a pissed off pigeon. That's what we went to investigate.
those are always the best times.
Yeah. Oh man, it was just like you didn't expect it, right? Because you're like, oh, we're in the attic and we hear noises type thing. And it's like, yeah, it's a pigeon. It's such a good clip too, though. Like me explaining it doesn't do the justice. You gotta watch it.
I'll check it out after this.
Yeah, and then we ended up in the cells. I don't know why in a mental hospital you need bar door cells, but sure. And it was nothing nice. Like it was all very depressing, very dark. The one thing I gotta say though is Rockville, like nothing touched you, pushed you. You would get like the odd like breathing in your ear type thing, like you'd hear like breathing right beside you, but like nothing physically messed with you, which was kind of like nice in a way because a lot of places they do that. Like I've had my butt pinched, I don't know how many times, which is like weird. But like you literally look back and you're like, did you just pinch my butt?
See, you know, you're not the first investigator I've heard say that.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a grandma thing, you know, like pinch the cheeks type thing. I don't know.
Usually it's female investigators I hear talking about that. Yeah, they're some handsy old spirit, but you know,
yeah, that makes sense.
Like you said, it can be a grandma, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've had it like here at my place, like so. I know for sure, like me and my uncle, we're super close. We're like best friends. He was my what's it called there? Godfather. And he passed last year, 3 months actually before I put my dog down, and like he hasn't left me since. I have like hours of evidence, conversations with him, and my grandmother passed away 4 months before him, and like that's where I think at home where I'm getting the pinch on the butt, because it's not very often, but like she used to like my nickname as a kid growing up for my grandmother was Bummer, because I'd always follow my bum, right? Like I always follow my butt. So that was the nickname, and she'd always pinch my cheeks, So that's where like, and it didn't honestly like it hadn't happened until she had passed, and so like that was like, but like I'd never get a straight answer from her. Anytime I try, they always tell you like don't reach for family or anybody it's never what's going to answer. That's a crock of shit. Like yeah, you're going to get something but if you're like my uncle, like I wasn't reaching out, but we had 3 investigations where it had said something that only he would have known about me. And like the last time, the 3rd investigation, I literally come straight home and I have his ashes on this shelf up here. I put my K2 right beside it, which is the, from yellow to red light, or the electromagnetic field. It has to be. So it's there's nothing. It's not even lining up. And I'm like, Uncle, you there? Want to smoke a joint? Because that's what he'd always ask me. Hey, you want to smoke a joint? And the fucking thing spiked to red. I'm like, should I roll a fatty? Because once again, that's what he would always say, right? And sure enough, right to red. And I was like, all right, And then like I have some of his stuff that the one day I just randomly put a cat ball in it, forgot I had done it. 2 days later, I'm sitting in this exact chair going over footage, and the cat ball starts going off. So once again, I'm like, you want to smoke a joint? Should I roll a fatty? Every time I asked, the cat ball would go off, but not for the full length, because they go for like, I think it's like 40 seconds, 35 to 40 seconds, and it would only go off for like 10 seconds. Like as if he like just answering, and then he would stop it so he can answer again, type thing. But yeah, like there's, like definitely, I've got family around me, that's for sure.
So this isn't necessarily so much for you, but for like some people listening.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with familiar spirits at all?
Sounds familiar.
So there's spirits that follow you your whole entire life. Like they're almost assigned to you, and they watch everything, hear every conversation you have, because
pretty well.
Not necessarily in this case. They tend they're more a malignant, malevolent spirit. But what they do is basically their job is to memorize your whole entire life, every conversation that you've had, and anything that you have had, and basically, so what has happened with people, and I'm not saying it's every case, but it has happened to people, and people have told me to watch out for it as well. Back when I used to do paranormal investigating, is like, especially like if you're talking about like a loved one and they say something that it isn't like it's your guys' secret, your guys' thing.
Yeah.
There's a chance it could be this spirit trying to fool you, because if you believe that you're talking to a loved one and stuff, especially if it's somebody that's not experienced with stuff, like, hey, no, will you let me do this? Will you give me this and that, trying to get something from you, power or control, and then they'll fool you to believe that it's a make you believe it's a family member or something, when reality is the spirit just trying to get access and control to you. Because let's just be honest, a lot of people aren't taking the proper precautions for safety. A lot of people aren't aware. They just see these things, they see them on TV, or they hear people talking about them. And they're like, oh, I want to try this, I want to do this. And that is the perfect opportunity for these things to get. So I'm saying that is words of advice and guidance to anybody.
For sure. Like, know what you're doing. I'm not saying just go out and like, I'm gonna go talk to my family members that are deceased. For sure, you got to know the signs. Don't just go looking for it. Get the signs and then kind of poke. Don't just dive into it. For sure. Like with my uncle, it was like I said. Like I had gotten some things that only him and I would have known, type thing. Like, because like we had done so much together that nobody freaking knew about, right? So And that's where it kind of happened. And thankfully, I do strongly believe it's him, because like it's literally, I'll be sitting down to roll a joint or something like that, and then the cat ball goes off, or the K2 goes off, or I hear like a knocking sound or something, and it's almost it's kind of peaceful in a way, because we lost him out of nowhere with still no explanation. There was no foul play. It wasn't suicide or anything like that. It was just health, and like it's kind of nice to know, he's still around, he's still hanging out, type thing, and that he didn't just suffer and go, type thing. So yeah, that part I do actually, I can say that I do enjoy that part of it, as much as it's kind of weird having a family member haunt you, but but no, it's almost reassuring that like everything's good, type thing.
Yeah, I get that. So if you want to hop on to the next location.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go.
Like we talked.
Yeah. So this is the one that still has the class action lawsuit against it. It's closed in 2012. This is this Reno Regional Center in Smith Falls, Canada. This is where a lot of torture and like experimenting and stuff happened. Like the only building that still stands left on the property of the original mental asylum is the children's and nonverbal ward, which is like, we didn't know until afterwards. And like, so I'm going through the footage, and you're getting a lot of just like not words, but like grunting and moans and stuff like that. And then we ended up, the top two floors were the kids' floors. You come across teddy bears and toys. There's the freaking wallpaper still there. Like, it's not something you want to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that one we actually got. I have a picture on our Instagram. It's literally a demonic face hiding behind the door. And we had this gentleman named Arthur following us around the whole time. And he didn't see, like, he wasn't trying to make it seem malicious or anything. Like, he was just like conversing with us until we got to the top floor. And like this one end of the building, for whatever reason, this one wing was really like decrepit, falling apart. Like, we probably shouldn't have been standing there, because one good wind and like the fucking roof was gonna fall on us, type thing. But that was the only point when I swear to God, he like waited till we were in his area, and then he's just like, I'm gonna get them, type thing. And then he started getting dark and like saying all kinds of stuff that you just like, I don't care to hear this, type thing, just not really scary, but like when you're in an abandoned building, you don't want to hear some stuff. But yeah. No, that was, I mean, that place was pretty good, but it was like, so Brockville had been used for Syrian refugees and something else. So it was up to date, what I mean? Like, it wasn't falling apart. There's fresh paint, carpet. Like, you could literally lay down on the floor and have a nap and not worry. Whereas Reno Regional Center was the complete opposite. Drywall from the ceilings all over the floor, paint's peeling, like everything's just falling apart. It's just like you almost don't want to be there because you're worried about like your health, type thing. But yeah, it was big difference in the places that way. What do we have after that? Yeah, see, this list sucks because it doesn't have the old ones. This is a bunch of new ones. We did Blue Church Cemetery. That was a very demonic experience.
Yeah.
So started off because it's just a cemetery, just a well-known haunted little church. This church is so bad, like badly haunted, that they cleanse it 3 times a year. Like, it's terrible. But yeah, so we went to the cemetery. Started off talking to a doctor. I can't remember the name exactly. He ended up following us kind of through. And then we ended up having a conversation with this like 12-year-old boy that unfortunately passed away young. And then we were just like let's just go find random spots and see if we can talk to them, random tombstones, and see if we can get them to talk. And we ended up close to the tree line. And then through the obulus, it said, like, take more steps or something like that. Like, take more steps, or I'm pretty sure it was take more steps, as in, like, come into the tree line. And then so I have an app that literally, it's like the obulus. It takes the words and uses an AI software to create a picture based off of the description that whatever it is you're talking to gives you. And it literally showed us 3 bodies dead on the forest floor and 2 hanging in a tree. And it wants us to go into this forest. I was like,
no, not happening, man.
Like, no, exactly. I'm not falling for your bait, And then I think we asked to show us what it looked like, and then it, like, straight up showed us, like, this, like, big horned, like, demonic entity. Yeah, and then something, like, other than it, something told us not to go into the forest, that it's not safe. So obviously we weren't going to, but, like, that was just reassuring. Like, yeah, somebody's watching out for us. Whether maybe it's the doctor, maybe it's a little boy we're talking to, I don't know, but somebody was watching out for us. And at one point, we were going to do an EVP. It wouldn't let me start the recording. I could turn it on. I couldn't start the recording. It would just shut down the device completely. And then when I switched batteries, it locked me out of my memory card. So I'd go to hit record, and the camera wouldn't record. It said memory card locked. So I had to go get a different memory card, put it, because I tried everything. You know how, like, the big memory cards have the little lock switch on it? I flipped it back, shoved it back in, nothing. Then the old Nintendo trick, threw it back in, nothing. Just grabbed a brand new memory card, and that ended up working. But yeah, whatever it was, just didn't want us having, like, proof or evidence that it was there. Like, that's what it seemed like, at least. It just didn't want it being documented that it was there. It wanted to mess with us, but it didn't want us filming it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I can imagine a lot of that stuff doesn't want to be known. Then people will stop.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get something like that entity, the horned one, people ain't gonna come there. So then it can't trick people into doing stuff. Stuff gets mad when you expose it.
No, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And, yeah.
You wouldn't. You ain't ever gonna catch me going up there to go to that cemetery.
Honestly, like, it's one of my favorite places to go because it's just so active. But we've had at least 3 times before we even set up. Because the first thing I always do is turn on the obulus. If something's going to talk, it's going to talk right away. And, like, I'll set it on a table or whatever, wherever we're staging out of, our home base. I'll set the obulus there and just continue on setting up. And at least 3 times, the first thing that comes out of that device is, we do not like investigators. Yeah. So that right there is a good sign to keep going. If you want some evidence, that's it right there.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue with that.
No. Where we got? Ooh, our first residential. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and then we'll get into our first residential case there that we did last year.
Sounds good.
Lava sawmill. Oh, okay. Picture. Alex Lava sawmill. I believe it was 1860. It's operational. Just a big sawmill, big kiln in the back where they used to burn the excess wood and dead people. Unfortunately, the mill was like, it was so run down that, like, safety was concerned, so we didn't really explore it too much. There's lots of drone footage of the actual place. Like, I want to go back because, like, I know the main floor is safe to walk on now, but at the time we just weren't risking it, so we stayed in, like, kind of the main part of the building. The floor had collapsed, but like, you know, it was safe to stand on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a lot of like injuries, a lot of like I lost my arm, or I died here, I lost a lot of blood, stuff like that. Just like nothing good, right? Like 1800s, you got to think safety. You got to think like there's no ambulances.
No,
So
not at all.
you cut your arm off, you're done. There's,
Yeah.
you know, you're gonna have your buddies, your work buddies around you until you die, type thing. Like it's kind of sad in a way, you know. Like, but at the same time, like this is the life that we're used to, right? So we're used to having, you know, you call an ambulance or call the cops type thing and get the help you need. Where back then it just wasn't available. Like we drove, so it's about 2 hours from the city of Ottawa, in the middle of nowhere, just this mill. And like now there's houses around it. It's not a big development by any means. Like it's still country living, but like there's houses there. Whereas like back in the day, that's all you had, right? Like the town was the sawmill. The sawmill fueled the town, kept everybody employed, and kept the money flowing. And then the second the sawmill closed up, you know, the town dried up and everybody left, right? But yeah, that one was interesting because like. I'm normally the one to offer myself, my energy, whatever, you know, like to get the response or get some sort of reaction out of whoever we're talking to. Like, so I understand, uh, like the feeling and everything that kind of comes with it, with like them using your energy or them just kind of like speaking through you. Like, 'cause you can get angry out of nowhere, you know, you don't
Yeah.
understand, you know, but that's them literally possessing you. You just don't understand. Like everybody thinks like, oh, you're gonna get possessed, you're gonna turn into like Emily Rose and be all, you know, messed up and eating bugs in the corner and freaking speaking in tongues. No, like not every form of possession is like that, right? Like you have different stages where, you know, using the energy or using you as a tool to speak is like one of the first forms. So I didn't tell the one team member, Michelle, about, you know, what it does to you, like the feeling and everything, right? So uh, she kind of starts the investigation off. Like it's quiet. We're getting answers, but like we kind of want to go more into detail. So, you know, she full on says without even thinking about it, you know, if you need more energy, use my energy or use me, speak through me type thing. I thought nothing of it. And going from experiences in the past with doing that myself pretty well every investigation several times, I should have known better to warn her, because like it is not something just like, yeah, use my energy and then, you know, you continue on the rest of the night, because you get something that actually is going to use your energy. It's going to drain you. Like you're absolutely dead. You haven't eaten in a couple days. You just went for a run. That's the feeling you get. Like about to throw up or faint. And so we had taken a break. We come back and like we usually end with Estes method. So, you know, I throw on the headphones and I'd forgotten my blindfold that time, which is kind of helpful because I'm in Estes and I just keep seeing the flashlight like kind of run across my eyes. Like I see the light through my eyelids because I don't have my blindfold, and like I'm getting annoyed. So I take the headphones off and I'm just about to give Aaron shit for using the flashlight the entire time I'm trying to do Estes. And I look at Michelle and she's just like swaying, like white as a ghost, swaying side to side, about to faint. And that's when I was just like, nope, let's get out of here. We're done. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm not putting somebody else's house. You know, I'll do it to myself, but I'm not going to put you through it. You know what I mean? Even though you say, oh no, don't worry about it. I don't care. You know, whatever. I still wouldn't let you go through that. Like knowing what it does to people, I still wouldn't let you go through that. But yeah, that was Balaclava. Balaclava was insane, insane, man. That's you feel like the depression almost. Like I feel like they went to work every day knowing that it might be their last. You know what I mean? Like back
Yeah. I
then,
mean,
no safety or anything. You don't have the foreman being like, "Hey, you're not using that safely. It's get it done." You know, like yeah, I couldn't imagine going to work those days. Like
Well, and this is also the time where people are living to like 40 max too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The average lifespan was like 35, 40. It's
Yeah,
crazy, man.
depending where you're at. I know down here it wasn't very long, but
No,
it's
no, it definitely, yeah, things have changed for sure.
real quick too.
Yeah, yeah. No, so Balaclava was, yeah, it was good. It was like you get different feelings from places, and like people will feel it kind of right off the bat. They'll like walk into a place and be like, "Oh, this feels off," like, you know. Like, and I've had it too, where you know, you just it doesn't feel right, or there's something that feels like it's not supposed to be like that. That place was like pure depression, like just brought you down because you get like you're doing Estes and you get like a woman's voice, and it's like my husband died here or something like that. You know, so like you know she wasn't there when he passed, but she's stuck there now because that was the last memory she has of the man. You know what I mean? Like it's very, very dark and depressing. Like it's not. I want to go back, but that's because of like the dark history of it. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
there's the kiln in the back that like I know for a fact bodies were burnt in that. You didn't send it to the morgue. Like why are you wasting somebody driving out to pick up a body? You're gonna dispose of it.
Back then, I mean,
Yeah.
ethics, morals, everything was different. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
wasn't not it wasn't nothing to bury your family member in the backyard.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And then a little ways up the road from that sawmill was our first residential case, which was weird because like we weren't ever planning on it. I just got a message randomly from this old elderly woman. She doesn't like me saying that. This woman who's older than I, asking if we could help her. She's like giving me all the details of what's going on, um, and she said that she's like very what's it called? They're sensitive. Like she's clairvoyant, so she's very sensitive to the spirit realm, right? Whether she wants to be or not, it kind of just happens because she's not practicing, nor did she want to at the time. So she like it was just kind of scary for her. Like she wouldn't even have her grandson over because of like some of the things that were coming out. And like I could send you some pictures of what she sent me from her, like the cameras in her house. Just like
Some
the
wild
security
stuff.
cameras in her house, man. It's insane. Like I literally have one of the Knights of Hell sitting at her dinner table.
What?
Yeah, I have Belfamore sitting at her dinner table.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That
yeah, pig nose and horns and everything, man. It's crazy. Except for in him sitting at her dinner table, he's like almost wearing a suit. It's kind of cool. But yeah, there's I got a picture of like a bald headed old man coming out from under her bed. Like it's so messed up, and then like this very distraught old woman like just sitting there, kind of like that. Like it's crazy. And then of course when we went to their place, like so she gave me like all of her story and everything, and I'm a skeptic believer, right? Like I'm gonna believe you, but like I need to experience it myself. You know, let's see if we can debunk some of this. We didn't debunk a single fucking thing, man. It was all
no.
everything she told us was true. The names and everything, man. Like insane, just insane. Like literally, like we're going through. We just kind of did like a quick like 5 minute Estes, just a poke, and we're getting all the names confirmed and like a whole bunch of dates confirmed, and like is insane. Which is what went down, but like so. Where she lived was in Calabogie. Calabogie is an unnatural calm river. It used to be like crazy white water, like rafting water, right? Like it's not safe to fish or travel or anything. They needed to create a passageway to get the logs from the Ottawa River down to Calabogie, past Calabogie, and then like just keep going type thing. So they poured concrete throughout the whole bottom of this river to kind of flatten it and make it calm. There's like over 300 bodies in that concrete. Over 300 bodies in that concrete. This is just a river behind people's houses. But once again, we're talking like 1800s, right? So like, he fell in, leave him, type thing. And you're not gonna kill 2 more people trying to get him out. It's like I said, man. Canada has a dark past. Dark. Like, ugh.
Do you guys got OSHA up there?
Oh yeah, we got OSHA.
Oh, but they didn't back then, I guess.
No, they did not. That's for sure. Even now, we just kind of safety squint.
Yeah. I was notorious for that on the old job sites I used to work on.
Yeah, I did that a couple times until I ended up in the hospital twice with shit in my eyes, and now I got scarring in my left eye. So
Hey,
yeah,
right.
I don't really do that anymore. So
see, I'm lucky. My eyes are naturally halfway closed all the time, anyway. So
there you go. There you go.
Man,
Well,
that's
descent?
no, not at all.
No.
No. But hey, it's
from Calabogie. So that was crazy though. Like she ended up like we did that pro bono type thing. We just wanted to help her out. We didn't charge her anything. Actually, she ended up giving me. Oh, this is one of my favorite pieces. This is a real crystal ball.
Oh.
This is an authentic crystal ball.
That was nice of her.
Yeah, you know how expensive this is?
Probably more than I make in a couple months.
Yeah, me too. Oh, come on, people. Skeleton doesn't want to sit up. There we go. Yeah, so she gave us like a couple of, she bought us dinner and stuff like that. But like it was all just, I wanted to help this lady out. She was terrified of her own property. And like after learning the history and everything, you kind of understand why, some of the things were going on. And then the actual property that her house, so it's a bunch of cottages along the river, but it used to be a farm, like way back when. So we're talking like slavery, like just, same thing, right? No safety or anything. They die, bury them type thing. No ceremony, nothing. Bury them on the spot. And yeah,
Yep.
so like a lot of that was like very same thing. Like you're getting a lot of like depression, anxiety too. Like you're getting things that like why am I dead? Like why am I here? Type thing. Like getting excited but not. You know what I mean? Just very very anxious. Yeah, just like nothing good. That's for sure. Like a lot of these places, like. Thinking of it now is like, wow, this is kind of very depressing. But at the same time, like that's what we're going for, right? We want to expose the dark, horrible past that Canada seems to be trying to hide very well.
Yeah, it's not all maple syrup and handshakes.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Yeah, we have a really messed up past. Oh, we're doing a prisoner of war camp this year.
Oh, that'll be fun.
A Nazi prisoner of war camp.
Oh.
So Canadian owned, but Nazis would have been in it type thing. So that'll be interesting.
We got a lot of those by where I grew up.
Yeah,
up in Michigan, tons of them. Like in the town I grew up in, tons of them.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. In Michigan too, right? It's nuts.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Germans in Michigan because of that. But man, you'll get something.
My hometown. So I'm from even farther up north. So there's a main river that kind of like splits the two sides, and one side is German, the other side's Irish. Because after the war, they had to escape somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So Germans took one side of the river, and the Irish took the other side. I thought that was
That's
pretty interesting.
that is pretty interesting. That's it's wild the things that affect geography. I mean,
Yeah,
like
man.
cultural geography.
Yeah. Yeah. Where to next?
Where to next?
Where to next? Come back. Let's come back. What was the Oxford Homestead? Oh, yes, the Settlers House. That's another new location coming up this year. You go antique hunting and you end up getting new clients.
Hey,
Man, literally, I went
how?
to high school with this woman's adopted daughter, and like I didn't even like clue in until she starts talking about fucking Olivier Vernon from the Giants. Like I was wearing my Giant sweater too, and I'm like, "Is your daughter Sarah Glenn?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my god!" You know, like so one of my friends from high school ended up dating two players from the New York Giants. It's totally off topic, but like,
Hey,
yeah,
fun little tidbits.
oh, yeah. I like stalked her Instagram for a while just to see pictures of them. Like Olivia Vernon, come on, OV. But yeah, so like this is like one of the first like houses in like the area that I live in, and like the original house still stands behind the new stone house, and like
Mhm.
it was a family of 8, and like today it would be maybe half of a bachelor apartment with a loft.
Oh,
That's how small it
huh.
is.
Yeah.
Like insane, dude. Like you used to raise a family in that. That's nuts. That's one I'm looking forward to doing this year. Especially because her and her 3 kids have all seen a tall, like male figure, trench coat and a top hat walking around the yard.
Oh, the Hat Man.
Yeah, the Hat Man. Yeah,
Oh,
the infamous
very
Hat Man.
popular.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a shadow man or just a spirit at that point because of like the time that it was. That would have been the style, anyways. But uh, I mean, a figure is a shadow figure, no matter what, really.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
We don't know the differences.
yeah. We just put a name to it and claim that we're right. But, oh, SDG jail. How many
Oh,
times did I go
jails.
there? How many times did I go there? I think I went twice. I went as a team, and then I went like on a date.
Oh, that
It was like a
perfect.
3 hour like investigation type thing. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, it's actually one of Canada's like most notorious, famous jails from the 1800s. Like lots of famous, it's the Winchesters. You know the Winchesters.
Mhm.
I think you've heard of. Well, he like it's an axe murder. Literally killed his family with an axe in the middle of the night, October 30th, I think it was, or 29th. I can't
That
remember
sounds
exactly.
that
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
yeah. So that's like one of like Canada's most famous murders, non-modern murders. But there's a bunch in that jail, and that's another place. Like the whole time you're hearing footsteps. Like you'll be in a cell block, and you swear somebody is walking up the hall to you. So you'll check, and there's nothing there. You're just looking like a fool, looking into the hall at nothing. Um, the Hell's Angels cell block was pretty intense. They really liked to be in the bathroom. I had
Yeah.
uh, I had a cat ball in the bathroom, and that would go off more than anything. But yeah, they were vulgar, very very vulgar, telling you to like literally to f off or anything on the lines of that. Pretty much, like you're talking like
Yeah.
OG Hell's Angels, the guys that
Yeah.
started the club.
Yeah. I can't imagine that being too them being too friendly.
No, 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 no. It was pretty nuts. But yeah, so the second time I went back, have I been there 3 times now? No, I've been there 3 times. Okay. So the third time I went, so the Winchester murders. Uh, he's got his own like solitary confinement special cell in that jail, and he was the only one to be in that cell. It was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the anniversary of the murders, and when he was hung in that jail, he was hung too in the gallows out back. And we're literally like, I got the ovulus in my hand, and I'm standing in front of the cell, like facing it, doors open. I'm like, Henry, are you there? And then, sorry, I had the ovulus and portal box. And so the portal box is like spirit box, but it's cleaned up, right? Like you don't get the
Yeah, you're not getting all the radio waves.
Yeah. So we get, yeah, it's me, through the portal box, like clear as day. Yeah, it's me. And it's like, so we started asking questions. And then, like we start getting some answers that kind of don't seem like we're talking to Henry Sege anymore. So we're like, Henry, are you still there? And he's like, yeah, I'm here. Just like, just all casual, like it's insane. Sometimes you gotta like, you're asking the same question over and over and over and over again, and then finally maybe you'll get the answer, Whereas like, him was just like, yeah, I'm here. What do you want? You want to talk? Let's hang up type thing. Like, it was just so casual about it. Like, it was just so easy, Like, it was almost like he enjoyed us being there because, not only is he dead, but in jail, he gets to talk to somebody now. Somebody that he didn't ever before. So, yeah. Yeah, I believe I did. I did 3 different sessions. They're all 3-hour sessions. This year we're going back for a full 8-hour. But yeah, that jail that's a good one. I really like that one. It's still like very much set up. Oh, you want to hear the best part about that guy's story? So, he didn't get hung. Sorry, I forgot. He didn't get hung. He was sentenced to death, but the day that he was supposed to be hung, the priest comes in and they start doing like the before they hang him type thing, like everything before. So the priest comes in, gives whatever final testament or something like that. I can't remember what it is. And then as he's like midway giving it, Henry collapses and dies. He had smuggled a capsule of cyanide up his butt and waited until the day that they were going to hang him to be like, you don't get your justice. And frickin' took the cyanide. Like, literally, pulled it out of his ass. Whoop! Out one way and the other. Yeah, that is really... And then, oh my God, I can't believe it. So, they actually have, like, it's like a mini museum in the old, what's it called? A guards, like, room or whatever. It's like a mini museum. They have the little, plastic packaging that the capsule he had up his ass was in. And you're like, well, why? Like, throw that shit out, man. Nobody, just tell the story. We'll believe you. Like, that's ridiculous. And people are like taking pictures. Oh my God, that was up somebody's ass. Like, why are you taking pictures? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand that part. But then again, I also, go into haunted or abandoned buildings and talk to dead people. So, what's,
yeah,
to each their own.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, thinking back here. What do we got? We got a demonic church that's coming up. Where is that list? I know I have the list somewhere. I know I wrote it down somewhere in this book.
Oh, while you're looking for that, yeah, the one time. Oh no, I was just gonna say, to fill in the time a little bit, the one like major paranormal investigation I went to was an old jailhouse down in southern Indiana, and it had some history. We got a little tour beforehand and stuff like that, and I was so disappointed. We had no activity happen, and the one person that had activity that did happen was when me and my buddy went down, and his girl went down to the gas station to get some pop for the night. Dude had a broom fly off the wall at him, and that's it. Yep. They were hyping it up. We had a REM pod set up in the back where they had a lot of activity and stuff, and that beeped a couple times, but I think it was just electrical interference.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
it's
from
so I got like the
upstairs.
basic version of the REM pod, which is just emotion. Like you don't need
Yeah,
the barometric pressure and temperature change and all that shit. You're like it's too much. You know what I mean? Like now you're adding factors instead of taking away. Like I try and
exactly.
keep it as simple as possible. Like I got dowsing rods. I got the spiritual side. I got my scientific side. You know, like you play it both, and not every place is the same, right? Like you got to kind of
Mhm.
cater to what you're dealing with. You know, if you got something that won't even like willingly light up a cat ball, like you're in for one hell of a freaking night. Like you got to coach this thing through just talking to you. So yeah. Trying to think here. Experiences wise, like there's not too many more places that I can be like, oh yeah, this was absolutely amazing. Other than like the Miller Kidtail was pretty cool. You know who Naismith is?
Not off the top of my head now.
The creator or the inventor of basketball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I got to do
Uh,
like his old store and mill that he used to own, which is pretty cool. I mean, really it had nothing to do like what you're talking to and dealing with. That didn't really have anything to do with him because he owned it uh, like later on. Whereas the couple that had bought the mill and rebuilt it by hand, like literally husband and wife bought it and then rebuilt it so it was functioning again by hand. They're the ones that are like really there. Um, Other than it being like the basement used to be Naismith's like hobby store type thing. Other than that, it wasn't really anything to do with him, but like a lot of native uh, history on that property.
oh.
Yeah, so there's like this big grindstone, like flour grindstone from when the mill was operational that Ethel, the wife, would write her poetry on beside the river. So you could take this path coming back from the mill back up to the gatehouse, and then it goes along the river, and you go past that stone. So we're like, you got rushing water. We're not expecting to hear anything, and then we just start hearing like the beating of drums, like native freaking drums, man. Like it's so, and like they didn't tell us anything. Like this, our first time going there. Me and my partner, and then it was his sister and his mom that we took with us just for fun. Um, and yeah, so they didn't say anything about natives or anything. They're just like, oh, the woods is really active. Like, be careful when you're in the woods. Like, probably get scared type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Literally thought nothing. Here I am going, skinwalker, skinwalker, skinwalker. You know, like, bring it on. And yeah, so like, you'd hear footsteps. Like we were walking. It's about half a kilometer, a quarter mile from the gatehouse to the mill. We're walking down this gravel road, kind of along the tree line, and we had stopped because my buddy's mom, like she walks with a cane, so we stopped and let her kind of catch up a bit. And like I got my back to the wood line, and as if somebody just took like 5 really fast, like they were gonna like tackle me type thing, like really fast, hard steps at me, and then just stopped. Like I jumped and like looked back, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like something just like charged at me, you know? And, like once again, they hadn't told us anything like other than like, "Oh yeah, the woods is active." So
Mm-hmm.
nothing native or anything, right? And then we heard the drums on our way back, and it was just like, this is nuts, you know? Like we just heard drumming across the river from where we were standing. Is so we go back up and we're telling the investigation team that like runs those investigations, and they're like, oh, like that's crazy because we've had our own guys say that they've heard the drums and they've heard chanting and stuff like that. But they didn't tell us beforehand, right? So it wasn't like, we made this up as we went.
Yeah.
So that was, that was something else. The drums was pretty cool. Unfortunately, because of the rushing water, you can't hear it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a personal experience thing, right? I mean, to go back and maybe cross the river and get it, but I mean, that's reaching for the stars. It's the thing with paranormal. You can want and want and want a certain type of evidence or some sort of reaction, but you're gonna get what you get, and you gotta be happy with it.
Exactly. I mean, that's like with people looking for Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Oh,
You get what you get.
yeah.
It's another place that actually has very similar phenomena that to what you were just talking about that I've heard from friends and stuff that have actually been there is the. Did you ever watch that movie, the horror movie, The Conjuring?
Yeah.
Yeah, the house that's based off of out in Rhode Island.
Oh, the actual Conjuring house, yeah.
Yeah, I've had some buddies go there and do some investigations, and they said that the woods around it are way more active than the actual house.
Yeah, so the house has been cleansed like 500,000 times. I don't know if you know the true story of the Conjuring house, but the only part. So after she levitated and got thrown across the room, everything stopped. Everything stopped.
There's
the team that I do like some of my investigations through. They went there this past fall, and they literally got nothing.
Yeah, that's how it was for my buddies that went.
Like,
it was like
nothing. They got a couple of EVPs through the night. They were there for a week, and all they got was a couple of EVPs.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but so that used to be a Civil War encampment. So the woods coming to life and everything makes so much sense. That's not the first time I've heard some of that. Because not everybody goes out onto the property, right? They think the Conjuring House, or we're gonna be in the house. No, scratch the house, spend some time on the property, because that's where the history is at. Nobody really knows the true story of the Conjuring, other than 3/4 of it is made up. Bathsheba was just the neighbor. She wasn't actually a witch or anything. She was just a normal woman with 2 kids. And everything that happened at the house. There's another thing that a lot of people don't know about the Warrens. The infamous Warrens. The biggest crock of shit to hit fucking anything. Yeah, a lot of those are made up. The Annabelle story is made up. It's an episode of The Twilight Zone. There's a couple of their stories that are literally an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, we've covered them quite a bit on this show.
So it's a mutual feeling for when it comes to the Warrens.
Yeah, I'm like them. I get the same feelings about Zach Baggins as them.
Oh.
He's the new Warrens.
Yeah. Except for at least he doesn't say "Oh, we got this evidence," and then damn well he didn't because you watched the episode. They just they do the first half of the investigation and then the episode's over. There's never a conclusion. There's no this is what we got, this is what we think. What do you think? It's just that's the episode. On to the next town. And he's done some really, really good and I've seen YouTubers go to places that he's been and get some crazy evidence, man. Far better than what he got. But he's a suspense thing, right? He's got to keep you got to keep coming back, right? So he's got to keep you wanting to come back. So he's not going to give you all the answers.
Yeah, and I do watch the show. I do, and I've watched so much of it. One thing they do really well is I'm big about the history of locations and stuff. Yeah, and they do a phenomenal job at that. So it's I'm not saying everything he is. I just got some stuff because one of his big things is close to home, actually, not too far away from me. The Demon House of Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
one of my buddies literally live a couple blocks away,
That's
and that
crazy.
it is all a lie, all a sham. Everything about it, nothing that they say happened there. All the evidence and everything, fake. And Baggins bought the house so it could be demolished, so people could not find out that all the stuff was fake.
Oh wow. Damn, I
Yeah,
didn't know that part.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
crazy.
yeah. So there was literally nothing there. I remember it hitting national news and stuff, and I was freaking out because I was a kid
Uh,
in the early 2000s, and I'm just like, no, this is close. This is only like an hour and a half away.
yeah.
I'm freaking out. And now I know a guy, like I said, 2 blocks away. He's just, yep, nope, this is it's all a lie. I
Yeah.
walk past that house quite often.
Yeah, see, that's the trouble I have with watching like some of the YouTubers is like once they hit a certain amount of fame, it's all reaction, like for the video. It's not paranormal investigating anymore. It's I'm just gonna make a video of me reacting to things, and you're
Mhm.
gonna watch it. Like, Twin Paranormal. You ever heard Twin
I, I've
Paranormal?
I've probably seen some of their
Yeah.
videos.
Man, like the first 2 years they were a team, like you could tell that they were passionate about it. They were doing it for the evidence, and then once they started to get fame and money, that's what they were doing it for. Like oh my God, the spirit talker just said something.
Yeah,
Like you don't get that excited, man. Like, come on. You can
you're like,
oversell
oh,
it, and then there's faking it. But there's a few channels like that. Even I find the overnight channel since Corey left, like he's literally just a clout chaser now. Uh, yeah, it's like you gotta stick to the roots, stick to the basics. A lot of
yep,
people do it for the money, and like that's the one thing I'm not in it for.
yep, and
I
that's
just
what
want
makes
proof, man. I just want proof. I want to prove to the world that this. They're here. They're walking with us. We just can't see them.
exactly. And there, there's people out there trying to do the right thing, like on the cryptid sides of things. Like I'll always give them shout outs. I'm friends with a couple of the guys. Small Town Monsters, if you've
Okay.
ever
Yeah.
heard of that.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They could easily go to a big network and make all of them make awesome money, but they like what they put out. They like the honest content they put out, and
Yeah.
uh, my Eli Watson, great dude. I was talking to him, and he's like, dude, if I had to just put a nature documentary with some cool drone shots and like just talk about the history of what's happened at this place that I didn't get any evidence, he's like, I'm just gonna put that out and
Yeah.
just let it be known at the front. Hey, I didn't get any evidence. I'm not gonna fluff piece this for you guys, but here's what I did find. Here's some history of it. Here's the location and some of the cool like nature stuff he found and interviews of people.
Yeah.
We need more
Yeah.
people like that.
No, for sure. Yeah. Like listen, everybody's trying to make a dollar off of everything these days. Like, and I get it after COVID. Like, I totally get it. But like, you don't literally have to do it off of every little thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like just enjoy life. You don't have to make money
Exactly.
off of everything. Not everything's gonna pay you. Not everything. Okay, I don't know if I touched that or not.
I'll let you know when I'm editing and everything.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I don't know. I feel like I wasn't like I'm not that close to his foot. I might have been. He looks like he moved. I might have hit it.
well, you know what? We're about an hour 45 in. I think
Yeah.
this is good
Yeah, I think
stopping
that's pretty
point
good. I was
right
gonna say, like,
now.
I mean, I've got stories, but nothing really as fun and exciting as what we've already gone through. That was not me. I did not do that.
Oh,
He's still moving.
no. I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think
he's saying goodbye.
I think I think we're gonna call it there.
Yeah, the statue just fell over. The little wooden idol.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Definitely.
we'll have you back on after you do some of these investigations.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. I'll definitely have some more stories for you, and I'll definitely keep an eye on some future content coming off of your side.
Sounds good. Now, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you one more time?
We are 613 Paranormal on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Merch is in the works. I'm currently wearing our team sweater, 613 Paranormal. It's the Hunt sweater. Got our big logo on the back that says Hunted. We've got two long sleeve shirts and stickers all in the works. Right now, we don't have a store operational, so if you want something, just message us. And I mean, chances are I'll probably just send it to you. I won't even charge you. So, yeah.
Well, y'all heard him. Thank you again, brother, for coming on. This was a blast. It was fun to hear some stories out of Canada.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was my pleasure, man. It's always nice being able to tell my stories.
I'm glad you reached out, and we'll hear from you again here in the future. And with that being said, everybody, if you enjoyed this weekend, let me try that again. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell everybody you know about the show. The only way we can get the show to grow is if you tell people about the show. And with that being said, God bless you all, and y'all have a. I'll catch you all next week. All right, bye.